Well, Bob, by Game 7, you would think that we'd be a well-oiled machine by this point, but not exactly the case, but at least we are now rocking and rolling on the latest Penn Live Penn State Kickoff show. Lovely weather day for Senior Day, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to make sure you keep both eyes on the road while we do this, because it's we were talking about it. It goes with the job, but Joe Hermit, the Penn Live photographer, and his son Elijah, who does some of the video work for us on Penn Live.
It's Senior Day for Elijah too, by the way.
It's Senior Day for Elijah Hermit. Elijah, happy Senior Day. But yeah, you guys are going to have your hands full as we get closer to kickoff, because it looks like it's going to be pretty brutal game conditions. But final home game, Senior Day. You know, at this time last year on Senior Day, they played Michigan State with a lot more to play for. I think during the game last year, they found out that Ohio State had beaten Michigan, which meant if Penn State had beaten Michigan State on Senior Day, they were going to go to the Big Ten title game. So a little bit more incentive last year, but still, this team can win 10 games in the regular season, and I think they will. They're 8-2. Nebraska's in a shambles. The team I watched growing up. I just think, you know, if we're gonna do a ride along for Senior Day, we should probably talk about a couple of seniors and one junior who is very likely making his last Beaver Stadium appearance. Greg, who is the senior you think today will step up, and who is the one that you've had the most fun covering?
That's a good question. The guy that'll step up, I mean, I think that Brendan Mann was sort of put on the spot by James Franklin a little bit, wasn't he? I mean, Tuesday, during his news conference, he said, well, I'm going to have another conversation with Brendan about being the physical guy on the offensive line and setting the tone for everybody else. I mean, between the opponent seemingly giving up Nebraska, and their run defense after they gave up 409 yards to Minnesota is now the worst in the Big Ten. We saw Penn State not do anything against Rutgers last week. I think the combination of being tired of hearing about it and the opponent and Senior Day, you put all three of those things together, I think Brendan Mann leads a good effort for Penn State's line today, and that leads to a very good rushing day for Saquon Barkley, who we'll get to in a minute. Most fun to cover, Marcus Allen, safety for Penn State.
That's a good one.
Marcus is a guy, he was one of the first recruits I started to cover way back when. Him and his dad, Sean, were one of the first recruits that I met. And it's been fun to watch him grow as a player. And he's definitely, you know, I think he said on Wednesday that he gave everything he had to Penn State. And I don't think anybody can make any argument against that. The 22-tackle game against Minnesota last year is always going to come to mind. Obviously, the blocked kick against Ohio State will be the highlight of his college career and maybe his whole career, depending on what he does in the NFL. But yeah, those two guys jump out to me, Bob.
Yeah, another guy that played as a true freshman, Marcus Allen, played and started, I think, midway through.
Yeah, Ohio State when Ryan Kaiser was hurt.
Yeah, Ryan Kaiser got hurt, and Marcus Allen never really came out of the lineup after that. Another guy who played a lot as a true freshman and has been a key part of the defense, Jason Kabinda, has been one of the favorite guys I've had to cover. You know, a real team leader. I think he's gotten better this year as the season's progressed. I'll be curious to see what the NFL draft evaluators think of him. I would imagine he'll be going to the NFL scouting combine. They ask a lot of linebackers at the next level anymore in the age of specialization. It's hard to find a three-down linebacker. I wonder how Jason Kabinda fits in that plan. He's a guy I think that I've enjoyed covering. As far as a player to watch, I mean, I just kind of feel like the running game is just going to be limited. I don't know, unless Nebraska just doesn't even have any interest in playing,
which it very well could.
I think if Rutgers can slow you down, I think Nebraska can slow you down. They're going to get more yards than they did last week. But even in these conditions, I still think there's going to be some plays made in the air. I think Trace McSorley is going to have a few touchdowns. I think he'll do some damage as a runner. And the senior, I think that'll probably have a big game, will be Deshaun Hamilton. I think he's had a great year. I was a guy that I thought that maybe his best football was behind him. But he's really kind of blossomed during the second half of the season. And I think Trace definitely trusts him. I would look for him. And as far as that junior we're talking about here, on our little ride along to Beaver Stadium for Penn State, Nebraska. I mean, is there any... This is Saquon Barkley's last game at Beaver Stadium. I would put it at greater than 100% that he doesn't come back. It just doesn't make any sense. It still needs 101 yards for 1,000. Really thought maybe the stretch run would be a little bit more memorable then, and there's still time. There's still time, but you know, they've played their meaningful games other than the bowl game. So it's just unfortunate that, you know, really his last meaningful moment was the 2 touchdowns against Ohio State, one the kickoff and one the touchdown run. You just wonder, you know, how things are going to wrap up for him. But yeah, we're talking about everything but probably the matchup in this game, because it should be a one-sided game. I just think that I think the fan base realizes that it's Barkley's last game, and I hope there's a moment in the 4th quarter where James Franklin and his staff get him out of the game just by himself, so the crowd can kind of salute him.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know that we'll see another one quite like him ever, or at least for a long while.
Yeah, no question. I mean, Penn State has some good running backs in the fold, guys like Miles Sanders. They have Ricky Slade coming in, 2 guys that are capable of playing the way Barkley does, but nobody can play quite like number 26 does, and he's given Penn State fans a lot of memorable moments over the course of his 2 years and 10 games so far. Yeah, it'd be great to see him close out on a high note at Beaver Stadium. I think he's earned it. I think the team has earned it for him, and we'll see how things play out, Bob. But yeah, it's a moment I think many fans, I think this place will be pretty crowded today despite the weather because of that fact. It's the final game for a lot of really meaningful seniors, but also Barkley as well. I think that should help get people into the seats despite this lovely weather we're experiencing here on Saturday.
One final thing, since we're not going to have a chance to talk about it between now and the next ride-along video, there'll be a Thanksgiving between now and then. My question to close this out, Greg Pickle, it's 2-pronged question. How many plates of food will you eat on Turkey Day?
2.
And how many naps will you take between, I would say, noon and about 10 o'clock before you actually call it a night?
I would say 2 plates and, I don't know, maybe 1 nap. Depends on how the NFL games are going, how much fantasy action is involved. But I'll say 1 nap, 2 plates of food. That'll do it.
You're a liar. I'm going to go over 3 plates of food, including dessert. And yeah, you're still young, so it better not be more than 1 nap. I might take 2. But anyway, that's it for now. Dave Jones and I will talk to you guys after the game.